we're talking about improving customer and team experience. You all represent organisations that have front offices, as it were, right across the nation, probably across different geographies, different nations and what have you. How challenging is it to deliver, first of all, that experience to your end users to be as seamless and as brilliant as they're probably used to in their daily personal technological lives?
I suppose the interesting thing is what experience are you trying to improve, or what element of it? So if you think about the problem you're trying to solve, then it might not be obvious that you're doing the right thing. I mean, obviously, consumer products, and I've previously worked on a lot of consumer products, and they have a certain value that comes from being honed on large numbers of users and large amounts of data to try and understand what's working and what's not. So when you look at your teams especially, and also the products they're using as well as your customers, you need to be very clear on what problem are you trying to solve. So you actually have the information ready to be able to spend and invest in the right things, because you might not be solving the right problem, or you might not have the right focus to actually really improve a holistic customer experience, and that's a really important thing, which I've learned through hard experience. So you have to be really clear that you are solving the right problem, and have evidence and proof that it's getting better, that you know that you get value from doing that, and also when to stop and move on to the next problem. It's never ever just one thing. So I think that's really the thing that I think is really most important. Before you start trying to improve experience, you really need to be sure you have some objective which is clear.
That's a good point.
Yeah, one of the things, I think all the way back to when I was studying years and years ago, we were doing marketing, and they teach you about segmentation. And what I noticed when I came into IT is that there's a little bit of segmentation, but there's not enough of it. So segmenting the users, you talk about kind of different users and different cases and different persona when you do a workplace, but actually you need a lot more segmentation. You asked about kind of the geographic dispersion and stuff like that. So we've got a lot of systems. They've grown up over many years. They're not all one system. And people say, okay, I need one system because I need to be able to answer the question for the customer and everything else. When you break it down, how many of our customers are actually purchasing from multiple locations at the same time through the same supply chain? And therefore, all the effort that goes into building, one system that'll do everything is enormous. It probably won't work because it's incredibly difficult. But actually, if we understood, well, that segment needs to have that amount of information, and 98% of it comes from this system, actually, you could probably design a much better experience than try to do the whole thing. And sometimes that's a challenge. Have you segmented what you want? Do you really understand it? And how close can you get?
Yeah. And it stretches quite far from a perspective of, going to your point around putting all things in a single system, in a single place. The advent of cloud kind of means that you take an application, maybe Office 365 or something to that effect, because for business reasons, cost reasons, application management reasons and so on, it makes a huge amount of sense. And then what gets forgotten is the fact that, cloud is not on the doorstep of the user. It might be for some users, but, for a global organization, if your Office 365 tenant happens to be in Europe and you happen to be based in Europe, great. You happen to be based in the US or Asia or something like that, that user experience is going to be very, very inconsistent across the enterprise. And so you've made a great business decision from one perspective, you've saved cost, efficiency and whatever else, and then you've created new problems that you weren't maybe thinking about. And then you sort of get back in that cycle of, trying to fix a problem that didn't exist before you did something big over here, and it gets stuck. And that's probably the biggest challenge I see with geography, is delivering that consistency to all users all the time.
I think as well with the whole international space, we've all got different cultures. We all recognise that, and we all want to support that. And delivering that customer experience seamlessly on behalf of one organisation, the one brand experience, can sometimes be hard. And actually sort of echoing a little bit of your point earlier, John, in terms of, what is the purpose of the organisation? If you come back to the root core of why are you there, and what's the purpose, and therefore understand what the customer experience will be, hold those values, actually the technology will make it, work in that sense. Right. So I think from a customer experience perspective, geographically dispersed, I think we all go back to purpose and go from there.